स्त्री और पुरुष के बीच का भेदभाव कब खत्म होगा महाराज?
Milind, what drew you to Paurashpur?
The magnet. I am a fan of medieval fantasy. In fact, all kinds of fantasy. I love Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Star Trek, science fiction. I mean, all of it. And it was nice. I mean, and I have done a little bit of it. Even, I mean, I've done Captain Vyom, which was many, 20 years ago, 25 years ago in India. And, you know, I've done historicals, but on TV. But this is the first time someone's attempting it on the OTT platform, Indian OTT platform, a medieval kind of fantasy. So I thought it was a good idea. But when it first came to me in January, it was just a line, you know, that there is a kingdom called Paurashpur, and there's a king, and he's a bad king. And, you know, there are people who want change in the kingdom. It was some kind of a line like that. So, and they wanted me to play the king. So I said, no, I don't want to play the king because it's too obvious, you know.
Right.
And of course, it's a very complex character and a complex personality, but just that whole thing about the king, I didn't want. So then they came back to me a couple of months later and said, oh, king, again, maybe they forgot that they had come to me the first time. And then I saw this other character which had just been introduced, and it was Boris. And I said, what does this guy do? Because they said that Boris is against the king. So I said, okay, if not the king, then who's against the king? What does he do? So they said Boris is a eunuch. So I said, oh, okay, let me play the eunuch. So they're like, what? Are you sure? And I said, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, it's definitely not something that I've done before. I have not explored any personality like this Boris. Mm-hmm. And so then we began to develop the storyline and develop the characters began to develop more and, you know, be fleshed out. And I think because I said yes to playing Boris's character probably became a little bit more important. And it became actually quite exciting. So the different kinds of scenes, the kind of range of emotions that there are for Boris, it's lovely. And I think that's the way they've etched out every character. You know, every character is really unique. Of course, people immediately, when the first trailer was out, people said, oh, is this like Game of Thrones? You know, so of course, there is a similarity. It's medieval fantasy and there's a kingdom. But I think that's where it ends. You know, the characters are completely different. The storyline is completely different. I mean, this hinges more on gender discrimination and so on. And what I like is the fact that even though there is so much of grandeur and glamour and sex and violence, there are these levels of social, what do you call it, issues, you know, that we can, if we want, see. And we have explored them to some extent. Of course, with gender discrimination, in any case, it is a big conversation today. So that was interesting. And from Boris's point of view, it was like, okay, he is a third gender. He's a eunuch. So he sees this discrimination first against himself, that he is not respected as part of society. He's not accepted as part of society. He doesn't know his place and what he can have as a person. You know, can he ever be with somebody? Can he find love? You know, he doesn't. So he's all his life been fighting for that. So he said that, you know, everybody knows that he's a eunuch. He's not hiding anything. And, but you have to take me as I am. I like to dress up as a woman. I feel this way. To me, it's not even as a woman. He dresses like Boris. So that is something that he's always been fighting about, that I am Boris and you need to accept me for what I am. Yes, I'm a eunuch, but I'm a human, you know, that kind of a thing. Doesn't say it, but that's the feeling. And then he also sees that, which they all see, that women are oppressed in Paurashpur. And nobody really talks about it. Like even in our society today, we have begun to talk about it now. You know, and there's a lot of gender discrimination, and now gender equality has become a big thing and so on. Just in the last maybe 10, 15 years, everybody is now talking about it. But at that time, maybe it was just taken as the norm. You know, it's a patriarchal society. Women are oppressed. Yes, that's the way it is. But he says, no, they shouldn't be. and then there are other people who also feel that things should change. They kind of get together, and then there are conspiracies, and then there's plotting, and then there's people get killed, and so on, and things happen. So, but the character is, for me, very, very interesting, because all the things that maybe in my life I take for granted, that I'm accepted, I'm loved, everything I do is lovely, and for Boris it's not. So what is that like? What is it like? There are people like Boris around us, but we don't really see them. We don't really think about them, and it's the truth, and I don't. And so when I did this character, I did think about and like, what would it be like to have this kind of life, and to be brave about it, and to fight for it.
The trailer of Paurashpur gave us a glimpse into its setting, and as you rightly mentioned that, gender politics is one of the biggest takeaways from the trailer. Now, as somebody who's portraying, someone from the third gender on screen, it comes with a huge responsibility because, you're portraying a community that's already sort of marginalized. So how did you go about, with the character?
So right from the beginning, even the director, Sachindra, we discussed it and we said, we don't want to in any way create a stereotype or follow a stereotype or typecast the character in any way. Of course, eunuchs have been portrayed on screen in India before. And a lot of the times there has been a stereotyping in the behavior, in the speech, in the expression, and in the dressing and all of that. So we wanted to not focus on that. And he said that, in any case, once you dress the way Boris dresses, like, of course, in some scenes he's fighting, so he's dressed in armor and all that. So that is not such a big thing. But when he's wearing women's clothing, or what is considered as women's clothing, and he's wearing makeup and he's got long hair and he's wearing jewelry, you don't need to do anything. There's no behavior that Boris has. He's behaving like a normal person, And that is the thing. We don't want to bring on more stereotypes. We want to focus on the human aspect of Boris. We want to go beyond the difference, which is gender. We want to go beyond all differences. Like today, when we talk about discrimination, it's not only gender discrimination. We have race discrimination, color discrimination, caste discrimination, language discrimination. It's always us and them, right? Everywhere in the world, it's us and them. Today, there is so much about, oh, these people came later, we were here earlier, and we don't like them because they don't have the same traditions and the same culture as us. There's a lot of us and them, which has been there for centuries, but now we realize it is coming out to the fore. And through these conversations, I think as a global society, we're dealing with it, right? So in the same way, we wanted to focus on the human aspect of Boris. Who is Boris? What are his dreams? What are his aspirations? What does he want? What does he think? Why is he doing this? Who does he want to help? And why does he want to help them? Rather than the histrionics of it. It's quite dramatic anyway. When you see it, you'll know. But the human angle is what we wanted to really focus on. I mean, every character is finally a human character, but sometimes you focus more on the outer side, the outer part of it, Mafia Don, what does he do? Then you see what he's doing, but you don't look inside the person's heart, right? So we wanted to really focus on that rather than anything else.
Right. Milind, you've burnt your fingers in the past when it comes to, for lack of a better word, bold content. There's been the print ad. Recently, there was an FIR, against you for your birthday picture. So did you, going into this show, which we've seen from the trailer, has its share of eroticism, did you have reservations taking up a show like this?
Because of?
Because
of what
the kind
people
of content that it has.
No, not at all. No reservations. I chose the character.
And you feel that, whatever is shown on screen was essential to the storytelling.
Yes,
Okay.
100%. I mean,
Right.
otherwise, why should it? I mean, see, finally, it is the prerogative of the director and the producers and how they want to tell a story, and whether sex and violence should be shown because it exists. I mean, what's the point in not showing what exists? Like, we hide enough in real life. We have enough oppression and injustice going on, which we try to hide, right? In our own lives, in our society. So what is the point of hiding it in a story when you're trying to bring it out, right? So, of course, the depiction, the actual depiction is again a matter of discussion, like how much is too much and so on, but you can't hide it. So if there is sex, there is sex. If there is violence, there is violence, you know? So, I mean, I was discussing it earlier with somebody that the line between is this justifiable and is that not justifiable, or censorship and so on. I mean, it is finally a choice. You have to tell people, yes, sex will be shown. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch this. There is bad language. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. There is violence. Don't want to see blood. Don't watch this for sure. That is given, and then people should have the choice. Because finally, if you don't give them the choice, they will never understand anything, right? People must be given the choice. Today, the internet is there. Like when somebody tells me, oh, you uploaded a naked picture. Yes, uploaded where? On Instagram, which has not removed it, so they don't care. And if you search hashtag naked on Instagram, there will be more than 10 million photographs. So what are you talking about? You know? So you have to decide whether you want to do hashtag naked and press the search button. That's your choice. You don't do it, you won't see it. If you know somebody who has done naked photography before, is quite likely to do it again. Why not? Because he doesn't see anything wrong in it. I've done it commercially. I've done it for magazines. I've done it for newspapers. I've done it as a model. I've done it as an actor. I've done sex scenes. Why wouldn't I put it on my Instagram page? So if you don't want to follow me, don't follow me. Don't look at it. Like some people said, oh, my mother is on Instagram. And I said, yeah, so she shouldn't open certain pages. I mean, the fact is that last week, Jennifer Lopez put up a naked picture of herself on her 50th birthday on Instagram. What do people have to say about that? So the fact is that, you know, the line is in your head. The line is in your head. What is art? What is vulgarity? What is obscenity? What is not? It's in your head. It's so subjective and it changes every day.
Paurashpur, which is a mythical setup, is it more difficult to, tap into that headspace than, something that you have an actual reference point for, like an era in history that you have an actual reference point for?
No, it's easier because you can make up whatever you want, actually. You know, you really can, because when you're following historical facts, you have to follow historical facts. I mean, if you see The Crown now, the controversy with the Crown is that the royal family is saying, oh, this is rubbish, these things didn't happen, that thing, the description of Philip is not correct, Charles is not correct, and we don't agree with this and that. But they're still making it. It's very, very popular. And in fact, the fans of Crown are now trolling the members of the British royal family. I mean, we don't know whether those things are true or not. And it's actually supposed to be historical. It is about these people, they're naming them, and it's okay, I guess. Nobody sued anybody.
Well, I think things would have been very different if it had been, made in our country.
Oh, most certainly, absolutely. I mean, the prime ministers in Europe come to office on a bicycle. So things are very different, of course. But what happens is the way they deal with things is different. It's not the problems that are different. The problems are the same. Is there gender equality in other countries? No. Right? Is there a discrimination in other countries on the basis of caste and economy and all those things? Of course there is. In every single country, in every society, unless they're tribal societies where there's less discrimination. But the more sophisticated and civilized we get, there is more discrimination.
Right.
That is the meaning, unfortunately, of civilization.
Right, right. It's been great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.